Following on from our on-the-bench interviews with Watford's parliamentary candidates, Neal from the Reason Coffee Shop got in touch to let us know where he thought the world and Watford was headed.
Hi, welcome to Reason Coffee Shop and Bookstore. I guess I'd like to tell you a little bit about what we do and why I set up the shop. Several years ago, I had depression and I was in a bit of a bad way, but I actually went on a program called the Thrive program that helped me sort that out. And as most of my friends know, I've been moaning about what's wrong with the world for many years. So I thought it's about time I did something about it, tried to make some action and benefit some change really to Watford. So we're a social enterprise, so that means we try to help people locally. We give over the space to groups to use, like Amnesty International, for example. We also run a pay it forward scheme for the homeless. There's a real big homeless problem in Watford, so people can come in and they can pay forward a drink or a sandwich for the homeless. But I guess the reason I want to do this is because we're living in a world of capitalism since Margaret Thatcher's time, where it's become about greed and selfishness, and the capitalist system has just taken all the money away from the poor people and regular people. Now even the middle class, you can see they're attacking the middle class and even older people with the dementia tax. So this system is just a story we're being told, and somehow successfully they've managed to persuade the country that this is the only way it can be. But if you look around the world, there's great examples like Finland and Norway, Denmark, all the Nordic countries, about how we can live better together. So I guess one of the biggest problems is the fact that we have a bipolar political system, so it's one or the other, and pretty much all the countries have in the world have the most inequality, and it's inequality that is the problem. It's inequality that is causing this angst in the country. So I guess the first thing we've got to do to get rid of that is have some sort of PR system. So if you look at all the most equitable places in the world, they have a PR system, which is proportional representation. And the reason that works is because people from different parties then have to work together and they have to cooperate. Whereas our political system is all about battling the whole time. They have to cooperate with each other. And it works. So that would mean there would be less inequality. Moving forwards, because of technological unemployment, we're going to have some form of basic income. The poverty we're seeing right now on the streets is only going to get worse. Under this version of capitalism, it cannot get better until we have a basic income system. That would also free people up to explore their passions, maybe even just work less, spend more time with their kids, looking after their relatives who need it. It's the only way we're going to move forward. So I guess the ultimate thing I want to say is we're living in a story. This capitalist system we're living in is a story. We don't need to be this way. We can actually have a much more harmonious future, and in fact we're going to have a much more harmonious future, because it hasn't come up in this election at all yet as far as I've seen. Climate change is the big thing that's right on our doorstep. We are in decade zero of the climate change problem, and what that means is if we don't take action within the next 5 years, we will not be able to keep the temperature, global temperature, to the 2 degrees that the Paris Climate Agreement, everyone signed up to it. Yet our own government's manifesto for the next election condemns us to a 3 degrees change in climate. Now, people think 2-3 degrees, does that make a lot of difference? It makes a lot of difference. The difference between 2 and 3 degrees. With 3 degrees, there will be hundreds of millions of people roaming the planet looking for new places to live. While we are putting up borders with our closest neighbours, that cannot be a good thing to have hundreds of million people looking for somewhere new to live. It also means 25% of our arable land gone. So when the population is going to be rising to 10 billion from 7.5 billion today, we will have 25% less land to grow the food. So we're going to need to have a more cooperative system. So neoliberalism, there's the version of capitalism we have today, it's on its last legs, it's in its death throes. You can see that by the panic of the Tories just trying to take money off the old people, taking their houses off the old people with the dementia tax, but they have to keep feeding it with more money because they've run out of people at the lower end to take the money off, with 0-hour contracts, homelessness, more people on the minimum wage. So this was my little effort. This shop is to get people in Watford to come together, and there's quite a few groups meeting here. Watford Humanists, Sunday Community, which is a secular Sunday group, Thinking Box, which is a great thing with, they call it the book club with videos. They talk about TED Talks, just looking for progressive movements forward. So I guess my one piece of advice to anyone would be get involved. It doesn't really matter what you're passionate about. If you get involved in one thing, one issue, you will make a change. As Brexit has proved, it only took a small number of people, very, very determined people, to take the country down a particular path. If we all start taking action, we can be those people who take the country to a better place.